Hello everyone, today I would like to talk to you about Saleema Nawaz's novel Bone and Bread, which was published in 2013 by House of Anansi. This was meant to be one of our picks for Hello Hemlock, and House of Anansi very generously hosted a giveaway. We were able to offer a few copies to our subscribers over the summer. So one of the winners, Laura, runs a blog called readinginbed.com. And she read the novel and reviewed it actually on our Hello Hemlock channel. So I'll go and link that video below. And she also wrote a blog post about the experience of making videos. And as for me, the summer got the better of me, and I wasn't able to actually film a video in the proper time frame. It's actually been several months since I was supposed to do it. So here I am, months later, with a few thoughts. So, Bone and Bread is a novel that grew out of a short story titled Bloodlines, which you can find in Nawaz's 2008 collection of short stories called Mother Superior. The story and the novel both tell of two sisters, Bina and Sadhana. And as Laura says in the video that she made, it is not a spoiler to say that in Bone and Bread, Sadhana dies. And a lot of the novel is spent with Bina, as she sort of attempts to reconstruct in an effort to understand why and how her sister died. Sadhana, we learn, has suffered from an eating disorder for much of her life, and as Bina goes back to reconstruct her memory, several of the pivotal moments that she recalls orbit around Sadhana's eating disorder. Laura made an interesting comment in her video, which was that throughout the novel she had to keep reminding herself that Bina and Sadhana were not white. Laura went on to say that this was because, to her, she found that we more typically hear stories of young white girls who are struggling with eating disorders, often because of this kind of really insane set of standards and set of values that are imposed upon women in the media and everything. And so this is one of the first instances of encountering a narrative that explores eating disorders through the lens of a person of color. And of course, I'm not saying that the experiences and stories of white people who suffer from eating disorders are less valuable, or even that popular discourse is in any way saturated with them, because it's quite the opposite, I think. I think that we should all be talking a lot more about eating disorders and the factors that might trigger them or contribute to them, but I think it's valuable and refreshing to see this issue represented here in the way that it is. And those of you who watched our Hello Hemlock introduction lineup kind of video earlier this year, I think it was in January that we posted it, will remember that we were going to have Ronnie from RonLit, who is also going to be joining us on Hello Hemlock for this novel. But like me, she was just too busy at the time, and unfortunately we couldn't make it happen. But I would have loved to have heard her thoughts. And I do urge you to check out two videos that she's already made about eating disorders, because as someone who doesn't really have any experience with eating disorders in my personal life, I found them really informative and important. I think that they would really speak to this novel. So for a novel that has so much to do with eating disorders, also it seemed naturally that it would also have a lot to do with food. There's like an obvious interest in food in this novel, in the space between nourishment and starvation. The title, Bone and Bread, alludes to it. There's a theory, Mama said. The universe is getting bigger. It will keep expanding, like a huge loaf of bread rising, like a great fat belly, until there's nothing left to make it out of, no more heat. It will be like a day that is so long it goes on forever, until time's a substance and it is made out of ice. There's also a theory, said Mama, that the universe is getting smaller. Millions of years from now, it's going to start shrinking and heating, like fat and flesh melting into bone, because it is the destiny of things to come together. All that there is will get closer and closer until there's no space anymore between anything, even between the things themselves. So, from the very beginning of the novel, Bina and Sadhana's universe, their entire world is defined by these two poles, and it seems almost prophetic in the text that one sister will be drawn towards nourishment and the other towards starvation. Their arrivals at these two poles seem to coincide. The two sisters, who are so close and connected by an unbreakable bond, stop having their periods at the same time. Bina when she's pregnant, and Sadhana when her eating disorder begins to affect her menstrual cycle. The two personify bone and bread. Bina with a bun in the oven, and Sadhana who is starving herself to death. The relationship to food is underscored in the novel as food is the family's livelihood. Their father, who's a Sikh immigrant, makes a family business out of bagels. And at first it would seem that this would connect strictly to nourishment, that food is being made and sold, making food brings in the dough. But in the novel it takes a turn when, quote, after that normal, considerate conversation that might not have happened in exactly that way, but probably did, my quiet, excellent papa went down to our bagel shop and died. Another theme that I draw from this quote is the unreliability of memory. Quote, that may not have happened in exactly that way, but probably did. Bina isn't sure, just as she isn't sure of many of the memories that she folds together to make a whole. Throughout the novel, Bina works to uncover Sadhana's secret, doing so by reading memories that she often also questions. These who are being targeted by a political party as being illegal, and this lacks the same attention that was given to the story of Bina and Sadhana. And the reason that it's criticism for me is because I felt that there was so much build up to this storyline without much resolution. And honestly, it was the storyline that I had most interest in, considering my particular interest in immigrant and refugee narratives in Canadian literature. So I kind of felt left down by the minimal attention that this storyline received. But in all, I think the novel is doing some really fascinating things and telling important stories. So I do recommend it. And I know it's been so many months since we were supposed to read this on Hello Hemlock, but in case you did read it along with us, please do let me know your thoughts and your insights below. And I would like to apologize to all of you and to Saleema Nawaz and to House of Nancy, who have been nothing but kind and generous for the time that it's taken me to get to making this video. I really enjoyed Bone and Bread, and I can't wait to read more from Nawaz in the future. So thank you to you all, and let me know down below if you've read this or what you thought of it. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. I'm like losing my touch. I can't even look at a camera anymore. It's been a while.